What is a dividend?
A dividend is a payment made by a corporation to its shareholders, usually in the form of cash or additional shares of stock. Although I suppose a dividend could be paid in anything. If I had a company that raised sheep, I could send a sheep to every one of my shareholders. We could call that a dividend, but usually it's a cash payment that comes from a company to shareholders in that company. And
So if I own stock in any company, if I own stock in Coca-Cola and they have a really good year, they get to choose whether they send me a dividend at the end of the year, or I would think that my stock going up would be enough of a reward, but they want to do something on top of that.
So the amount that your stock goes up really depends on how much people think that company is going to be worth in the future. And believe it or not, it can be inversely related to how big of a dividend that company is providing. Think of it this way: dividend investing is all the rage right now on social media, but a lot of people think, well, I can just buy $100,000 worth of companies that pay a 5% dividend and I'll get $5,000 a year forever. Usually, when companies are paying a big dividend, it's because their board of directors at the end of the year says, here's all the extra cash we have. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great options to reinvest that money in our company and grow it. So we're just going to do the right thing for the people who own this company and hand them their money. That's great in the short term, I guess, for investors. But in the long term, often it means the value of your company is headed down, not up. So a lot of companies pay a dividend and grow, but companies that are just paying huge dividends often are the ones that are saying, we really don't have any way to invest in ourselves and grow more. So we're just going to return this money to shareholders. And it's part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of a heavy position in lots of dividend paying stocks.
And if you go to buy stock in a dividend paying company, did they tell you up front, this is our policy that we pay dividends?
So it's a decision that the board of directors is going to make in a publicly traded company on a quarterly basis. Now, that could change. Apple did not pay a dividend for the longest time, and then they started paying one, albeit a pretty small one compared to the size earnings that they tend to have. Companies can certainly pay a dividend and still be high growth companies, but that can change over time. Usually it changes slowly. Usually you don't have a company go from we pay a huge dividend to now we're just going to grow like crazy, but it could. It's really a quarter by quarter decision made by the board of directors.
Great. For more financial education as well as inspiration and equipping for the biblical family leader, subscribe right now. You can do it right now to the Abraham's Wallet podcast. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platforms.